How to attract the relationships you want for an abundance of money, health, and sex. Well, that's going to be the topic here tonight. And so at this point, if you have any questions, we hope that you do have questions about this subject, go ahead and put them in the comments. Now, if you're watching this, instead of watching this live, then if you're watching this as a video, then go ahead and make a comment and put any questions that you have in the comments. Now, the other thing that you can ask questions about for tonight's topic would be about reinventing your life in order to create the sexually liberated, ethically and consensually non-monogamous life of your dreams, increasing your abundance, liberation, and freedom in your money and in your health and in your sex. And so if you have any questions about any of that, this is a live coaching session tonight. This is week 2 of 9 weeks that I'll be doing live coaching, answering your questions, and also then bringing a topic every week that I'll be doing some teaching on. And so this is your opportunity to get some live coaching in the areas and the fields that we focus on here at Non-Monogamous Lifestyles Association. Now we're just waiting for people to show up. For those of you who are watching the video instead of the live feed, the live stream, I guess it's called, then we are waiting for people to show up. And so we're going to give this about 3 more minutes. I always like to go on just a little early before I start to present information and material and answer questions, so that people have a chance to actually come and attend the live YouTube event. And so we're getting started a few minutes early, but that gives those of you who are watching the video or arrive a little late, then they can put their questions in. But those of you who are watching this on video, then at this time, just think about what questions that you have, so that you can increase the abundance, liberation, and freedom in your life with money, with health, or with your sex life. And that is to have a sexually liberated, ethically and consensually non-monogamous lifestyle of your dreams. And so think about the questions that you've got and put them in the comments, because these these weekly coaching sessions are all driven by those questions. And so as questions come along in the comments, either in the live stream or as questions come along in the comments from the video, then that helps to determine the direction that we go with the topics that we teach on. Go ahead and think of your questions and put them in the comments. Silence, there was a saying many years ago that said silence is golden. And in some cases, I know that silence truly is golden, but in many cases, that silence is not golden. But we'll be getting started here very soon. Okay, well, let me go ahead and take this away. And I'll just start out by introducing myself. My name is Non-Monogamous Mark, and I'm the CEO or the Executive Director and the co-founder of the Non-Monogamous Lifestyles Association. We'll be talking about a little more about that here as we go along, but we want to get into this information here about how to attract the relationships that you want to have in your life for an increasing abundance in money and in health and in sex. because you see, we want you to be able to take and be living a day, living today, knowing that you're having the best financial years, the best health years, and the best sexual years of your life. Now, and all of those require relationships. And so how do you attract those relationships and an abundance of those relationships so that you can have all of the co-creation that's involved in making a lot of money, and you can have the co-creation that's involved in having great health, and then you can also have all of the co-creation that's involved in having just a great sex life. And so we're going to be talking about that. But there's a question that I have for you is about the relationships that you seem to attract, whether it be about money. People say, well, I just really don't attract any relationships for money. Maybe it's that you attracted your job that brings money into you, or you attracted and so there's a lot of different ways that you attract people into your life or develop relationships around money. And the question would be then is, do you primarily attract relationships that are an asset to you, or are they and then they turn into liabilities? And so these are questions to be asking yourself. And the same with health. We can find that we get ourselves into relationships that they're fun and everything in the beginning, but then are they really helping to promote the health that you want to have in your life? And then we promote our health through our activities. First of all, to start out with, we promote our health through our diet. What we eat and what we intake through our mouth. And so that promotes our health. And are you the relationships that you're forming, whether those be your romantic relationships or the people that you live with or your friends, do they promote you to have a healthy eating habits and eat healthy? Do they promote that you have a lifestyle that is active and that keeps you healthy? So often we get into relationships that, when we really stop and think about it, that the things that we're all involved in doing when I'm with those relationships, it's not promoting the kind of health that I want at all, and does nothing to promote the health. And sometimes it even not promoting you to have a healthy life, then they are a liability. And the same thing then about sex. The people that you're in a relationship with, and the people that you get around, your friends, and your coworkers and your relatives. Do they promote for you to have the abundance of sexual experiences and just the lovely, wonderful times? Because sex is a big deal in life, and so these relationships, you're either attracting abundance of relationships so that you can then have an abundance of sexual partners, or you're promoting or you're attracting people that are kind of like anchors to you, and they become a bit of a liability for you maybe. And so that's the question then, is do you primarily attract relationships that are assets or liabilities in your life financially, with your health and wellness, and in your sex life? Now, with your health and wellness, the other thing we left out is we left out your mental health and your emotional health. Those are all very important functions to your health. And so, what kind of relationships are you attracting? So now as we get started here, write questions down in the comments. If you're watching the video, nobody's come along yet on the live stream. So, but if you're watching the video, write questions. I'm going to pause here for a moment and write what questions you have. One or two questions in the comments section about, what questions that you have about how we go about attracting the relationships that we have. either financially or with our health or with our sex life. And so you might have a question about one of those or all of those. Go ahead and write a couple questions in the comments. I'll wait here for a minute for you. Okay, well, I'm going to get started here while you finish up there with your question. Early to reinvent your life, because you find yourself in a place that financially, with money, that you've gotten stuck, or you're just not happy with the direction your life is going in with your financial world. And that could be from a spending standpoint and how you handle your money with your budgeting or your spending, or that you just simply, you buy into the whole idea and concept of consumerism, and you've got to have all the stuff that they show you in the advertisements and everything. So that's an issue with your money, or also then in actually increasing your income so you can make more money. Maybe you're just stuck there. And so with one of the things that we do then is we promote that it's never too early and never too late to reinvent your life and reinvent your life in a way that gets you out of being stuck. And so the thing with me, though, is that and that's not only in your finances, just a moment. It's your finances, but also then reinventing your life with your health. It's never too late. If you're on 20 different medications, then there's help out there for you. Juicing is a great way to go, and you can watch some videos by Joe Cross, and watch some videos on juicing. Or there's a documentary called that's made by Joe Cross out there, a couple documentaries that he's made that is about juicing and how that totally turns people's lives around. A lot more documentaries about the food that we eat and how by eating, just changing our diets and eating things differently, that can totally turn your health around, where your doctors will say, no, you got to just keep taking these medications, and yes, we certainly don't advise you to get off your medications until you think that it's time to be off those medications, and you can make those sound judgments for yourself and decide that you no longer going to be dependent on the pharmaceutical and the doctors and all this medical industry that we've created in our country. And so then, I talk about reinventing your life. And from my own standpoint, I've reinvented a lot of my life. We don't ever reinvent all of our life. We reinvent portions of our life. And it's up to you to decide what portion of your life is really needing to be reinvented at this point. For me, having come from a very religious place, extremely religious, conservative, born again Christian out there saving souls and evangelical, that was something I took seriously to heart. Is my responsibility to be out there saving souls, and so to reinvent myself from being that really super religious person to being a sexually liberated person, where the journey, didn't happen just overnight or anything, but it was taking a journey to create the person that I am today. And so, but that journey began by reinventing my sex life. And so one of the things I've done is they're also reinvented my financial life. And I've talked about that in numerous videos. And then even like last week, I talked about reinventing my health and how that's came along. And from going from watching my friends and even myself, the health. I did a reinvention of my diet, the things that I'm eating and consuming. And so there's a lot of things that go on in our lives that reinventing our lives can be a really positive thing. And so for me, that's where, this concept of reinventing my life and just kind of being that as a part of my life process has been very useful and very helpful to me. And I hope that you will join me on my journey as I am reinventing various aspects of my life now. But you'll join me on my journey and you'll make it part of your journey as well. Now, things that you may be reinventing are different than what I'm reinventing, but we can take this journey together. And what brings us all together is the common focus that we have in creating a life that is a sexually liberated life that is ethically and consensually non-monogamous. And that's really what then brings us together, whether that's something you're interested in or curious about, or something that you want to explore and experience possibly, or something you're transitioning to. Oh, maybe you're kind of in monogamous relationships right now and you're just kind of trying to figure out how to transition to that, or something where you're already living a sexually liberated, ethically and consensually non-monogamous lifestyle. It's what we call an ECNM, ethically and consensually non-monogamous lifestyle. And so that's where we are constantly in the process of reinventing our life in order to take and make our life from one year to the next better and better. And all these things, whether you're reinventing your life financially, you're reinventing your life with respect to your health or your sex life, all of these things require relationships. And one of the things that I'll be teaching in the next 9 weeks, or the series, not 9 weeks now, it's going to be 8, including tonight, 8 more weeks or 7 weeks after tonight, is how to become the person that you need to be in order to have the things that you want in your life financially, with your health and with your sex. Because you see, we always want to take and point and look outside ourselves or find that magic pill, just give me the easy button that they talk about in those commercials for that, that office supplies place, and I just want that easy button, or I just want the pill, I go to the doctor and the doctor just prescribes me and writes me a pill. But life's a journey. And when you come down to real life, most of real life just doesn't work that way. And if you're going to become wealthy, then you got to go on a journey, and you've got to then increase the value that you are having and giving to offer people so that you can go through a process of personal development and professional development in order to accomplish that wealth. If you're wanting to work on your health and you're just wanting to get healthier, it's not going to happen overnight. It's a process. I started my process when I was in my 40s. And it's been a very slow journey, but it's been a process that has continued to improve and improve and improve. And here I am in my 60s. And I know most people tell me I don't look like I'm in my 60s. I don't use any hair color. I take no prescription medications. And for the most part, other than this injuries that I have had my shoulders that I'm dealing with from a car accident that I got into almost 2 years ago now. I'm still dealing with that. And other than that, but I don't have to take anything for that, and I just have to go to physical therapy type stuff for that, and so other than that, though, I'm really very, very healthy. Now, am I able to do everything with my body that maybe I could when I was, 18, 19, and 20 years old? Well, no, I can't. And that's why it continues to be a journey for me. I was 18, 19, 20 years old. I could do lots of push-ups and lots of sit-ups and all kinds of things like that. And I'm not in that physical shape to do those things at this point in my life. And so I've still got work to do. And so I'm going to be on my journey reinventing my life. And I hope that you'll join me in reinventing your life as well. Now, this coaching program we have, as I mentioned, this is week 2 of 9 weeks. every week I will take and introduce a topic on the main weeks. So those are weeks 1 and 2, 4 and 5, 7 and 8. Because then in weeks 3, 6, and 9, those are catch-up weeks and review weeks, and gives you a chance to ask more questions. And so I introduce one topic every week, and then I give a little bit of a homework assignment, and then we take and have a question and answer session. And so if you have any questions, then that's when I'll go ahead and answer your questions. And this here today, I've kind of taken a little bit of time. Looks like we're 20 minutes in this video to get to this point. I hope to be getting to this point in about 10 minutes. So these are something that I'm learning to do, these videos like this, and have these coaching sessions like this, where we're taking 30 minutes, and so that we're not going way over like we did last week. But these coaching sessions are designed around you. I don't have a 9-week agenda or an outline or anything like that. I totally count on your questions. And so like today's session, the thing I'm going to teach about is based upon a question that came to me last week. And so maybe where you send me the question privately or through the comments or however that gets to me, but we'll go ahead and address those things, and those become the topics that I teach on that if we don't get to the addressing the question during the time that we do the live YouTube event. Now, at the end of the 9-week, what's going to happen? You see, because, 9 weeks of 30-minute sessions, you can't totally transform your life. It just doesn't happen that way. You can start the reinvention process, but you're not going to totally be able to transform your life. And so we're going to also give you, or I'm going to give you, an opportunity at the end of the 9 weeks to become a charter member of a movement that I'm creating to help you to reinvent your life, so you can continue going deeper and keeping your life on track financially and with your health, and living the sexually liberated, ethically and consensually non-monogamous lifestyle, helping you to increase your abundance, liberation, and freedom. You didn't get to where you are today by taking 9 half-hour coaching sessions with someone, and voila, you got where you're at today. And so we're going to make sure that we have a follow-through program for you so that you can stay and continue to stay on track and tune up your life in the reinvention process that you go through. Now, more on about today's topic, though, and that'll be how to attract the people into your life to have the best sex of your life for the rest of your life. We're going to talk about that. Also, we're going to talk about how to attract the people into your life to financially have the best years of your life for the rest of your life. That means it keeps getting better and better instead of coming to a place in your life where it just starts to grow stale like bad bread, And then also how to attract the people into your life to have the best health of your life for the rest of your life. So those are really the topics for today. And we kind of lump them all together in the title here we got, about attracting the relationships in your life that you need. And so how you attract a matching energy. One of the things that we find is attracting these people, because I see all the time, well, how do I meet people? How do I find the people? There's just, I live in a city where there doesn't seem like to be anybody in the city I live in that I'm interested in having really in my life. And so I end up living a settle for life because I don't want to just be alone in my life either. And so then, what it comes down to is how do you really meet these people? And I call this attract these people is more like it, because yes, you can just go out there and meet these people, but if you're not following the laws of attraction and the energies of attraction, then if you're just meeting people, chances are you're going to end up meeting some of the wrong people. And you're not going to be meeting the people and having the relationships that are going to create the abundance and the liberation and the freedom you want in your life. Instead, you meet people that'll create limitations and restrictions, and that create obligations and things of that nature that don't help your health get better, but it helps your health get worse. I remember a girlfriend that I had. This goes back maybe about probably about 6-7 years ago now. and she liked to have me plump. And I just told her, I says, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to stay plump for you. And she had her husband. He was a very hefty guy, and she loved to feed me. Well, fortunately, I didn't eat too much at her place, so she didn't have too many opportunities to cook for me. We had many opportunities to do other lovely things, but not giving her the opportunities then to cook for me very often. But that was one of the things that she just loved to do. And I just told her, I said, that's not good for my health. And so that relationship, I'm really fortunate that it didn't last it didn't last a terribly long time. I don't know, something short of a year, I suppose. And that was a good thing. And so I moved on with my life and reinvented again the fact of knowing what more I want in a relationship and choosing a relationship. I want someone who's going to help me to stay healthy, not someone's going to want me to get a little plump. And so these kinds of things then is that we create an energy about ourselves, that this energy we create is how we then attract people to us. And I made a video yesterday, and it's about needs versus deserve. And actually, it was two videos because for some reason my computer shut off and shut down, and so then I had to start it up again. And I was making a live stream video on YouTube, and so there's two videos. There's the main video and there's part two to finish it up. But that's something I highly recommend you go. You spend, it'll take about 2 hours of your time. But it was a major teaching that I did about needs versus deserving. You see, because a lot of people go with their needs unfulfilled, and yet we all get what we deserve. Think about that. We get what we deserve. So for instance, at that point in my life, when I had that girlfriend where she really wasn't going to be beneficial to me with respect to my health, well, at that point in my life, the energy that I was putting out, I got what I deserved. And so we do get what we deserve based upon the energy that we put out. And I don't have 2 hours to teach that today. And so I do encourage you to, when you have the time, you need to go watch those two videos about needs versus desire. It's not desire. I'm sorry. I drew a mind blank here. Needs versus deserve. Because we do get what we deserve. And you might think, no, I didn't deserve this. Well, it is the energy that you put out. And that 2-hour training that I did will go in deeply into explaining all of that. And then you'll understand that, yes, we do deserve what we get. And it may not be what we want, but we deserve what we get. And so how do you then get what you want? How do you attract that to you? I go into detail in that 2-hour training as well, but the first thing I want you to know is that you got to create an energy of positivity and avoid negative energy, because, you may not think about how putting out negative energy, or you think, well, I'm a pretty positive person. Most people do think that. And yet the amount of negative energy that people put out is really mind-boggling. And if you start to really become aware, because awareness is the first step here, is in going up the steps to having the relationships you want, is to be aware. Be aware of the energy that you have, and be aware of how it can be more positive instead of negative. And again, I go into that 2-hour training. I go into all that in detail. But what you create is what you attract. And you always get what you deserve, not what you need. And that's why people end up having needs that are unmet, because you will always get what you deserve. So in this idea of that we're here to reinvent our life, well, understand that the reinventing in your life means that you're actually going to take and sit down and you're going to design the life that you desire to create. And that's what this is all about. This reinvention process is that you sit down and you've got to go through this exercise. And that exercise, hi, Steve, thanks for dropping in. And you've got to go through this exercise. And that exercise is to take time. For me, it was taking a whole day of time. And so you may do it in smaller steps, or you may take a weekend day. And so take time, though, to design the life that you desire to create. Now, and that's in your life financially. Are you really living the dream life that you would really like to live, or did you stop dreaming? Well, unfortunately, I came to a point in my life where I had stopped dreaming and I didn't even realize it. But then I went off to this business meeting, and unfortunately, they talked about sparking a dream again in people's lives. And that was very helpful to me because, yes, I used to have dreams financially, but, I let them just die. And when they died, part of me died with that too. And so that's then one of the part of reinventing your life is to think about then what is the life that you dream of financially. And the same thing then with your health. Like I mentioned in the start of this video, that yes, I don't have the health that I want. I'm on a journey though. And as long as you're heading in the direction that you want to go, then I hope that you'll never get to where you actually want to be, because, that means that again, your life will start to grow stagnant. You always want to be reaching for new heights and new things. Warren Buffett and these wealthy people that just have, we think be all the rich money in the world. And yet they go to work and they come up with more creative ways to make more money. And it's not like that making more money is going to change their life at all. But they realize their need to create and to be creative in the creative process. And so their life is also a journey financially, and life is a journey with your health, and then also with sex, so that you can have, one of the things that came along to me is that, because as I mentioned in other videos, I was 49 years old when I went from monogamy to non-monogamy. And after those 27 years of miserable monogamy, where sex was really very poor, very bad, and never really happy with it. And so then finally got involved in non-monogamy. My wife and I opened our marriage. And then at that point in my life, that I started living this really rich, lovely, wonderful sex life. And so then, I got into wonderful relationships with women that I was really enjoying. And one of the things that I decided is that I wanted to be able to enjoy sex at the age of 80 that was better, way better than what most people enjoy in their 30s. And so that became a goal for me. And that's something that I had to reinvent my life in order to have and accomplish, because that became part of my driving force with my health. Is that, yeah, if I'm going to have sex when I'm 80 years old and that sex is going to be better than what most people have in their 30s, yeah, I've got to stay healthy. And now I've changed that. And now that has been changed, because I want to have sex when I'm 90 years old that is better than what most people have in their 30s. And so, it's kind of like that whole thing with abundance. These guys like Warren Buffett and Bill Gates, that it's like there's all the money they have, they still have goals that they reach out there to achieve. And you always got to be on that journey. And so that's where I've gone from 80, because I saw that, okay, I'm going to make it to 80 and having great sex. I can see that. Let's now make it to 90. And part of that then too became actually meeting people. I remember meeting people that were involved, because I switched from riding a motorcycle and just cruising around on this big motorcycle and getting fat. And I went to trade my motorcycle in for a bicycle. And I remember then meeting a couple people that were in their 80s and 90s, men that were riding their bicycles everywhere and out riding me and And I was inspired by them. And so now, I want to be 90 years old and riding 50 to 100 miles a day. And so that became all part of my journey. But so in this process, though, to design the life that you want to create, you sit down, take some time, and write it down, or carry a notebook with you. If you don't want to sit down like I did, I took one day of my life and I sat down and I started the design process. But carry a composition notebook with you. I carry these things. Do I have one here? Not there behind me, but you can buy them at the store. They're about a buck. At the office supply store, $1.50. They're composition notebooks, great notebooks to carry around, and that way you can just go ahead and jot notes down. And so have a composition notebook that you take everywhere with you, so that you can start this creative thinking process about how you want to reinvent and design your life in order to have the life of your dreams financially, have the life of your dreams with your health, and have the life of your dreams with your sex life. Because then, as we've mentioned, and Steve, thanks for coming and joining us with the chat at this point. I do encourage you to pick up after we're done here, pick up the chat from the live stream from the beginning. Because as we mentioned there, that all of those require relationships, and you want to attract the right relationships to you. And there's an energy then that you have to put out yourself. And that energy starts with you reinventing your life and then writing it down. Very important to write it down. And then get clear about it. Because sometimes it's kind of, you start writing it down, but then it's all still really foggy. And it's a process. And through that process, the fog will clear up. And then you start to refine it. And because sometimes the fog will clear up, but like in my case, I'm ADD. And that means that I can be going 25 different directions and have 25 directions to go in. And that's not good. It's not good for trying to really accomplish anything, when you're trying to run in 25 different directions. And so with my ADD, I had to really learn to refine then the things that I wrote down. And so by refining them is that you start to think about, okay, now I can't be going 25 different directions. It's really what's most important to me. And it's interesting, last week at the end of the video, the live video that I did Monday, and the coaching session, I gave a homework assignment, and I'm going to give it again this week. And so that homework assignment, I'm doing it myself. Now that homework assignment is two parts to it. One part was to read the book Promptings. And so I've gone on back and I'm reading through that book myself. I've read that book probably 5-6 times already. And I've got lots of notes and highlights in my book. This last week, since I picked up that book to start doing it myself, like the assignment that I gave everybody else. Well, this last week then, I'm reading along and I came across a note that I made to myself. And it was just a little note of a thought that I had of something I read in the book, and I highlighted it in the book, and then I made a little note to myself. And so I came across that note. I had never gone and revisited that note. And that note really jogged a thought in my thinking, my process here. And I talked to my partners about it, and my partners being my lovers, and talked to my lovers about it. And then I also took and I started just really processing, spent 2 days just having that process in my head, not necessarily spending a lot of energy on it, but I spent 2 days just having that churn around that idea in my head. And the process, the outcome of that was now a clear focus that I've been really trying to hone in on with what I'm teaching and things that I'm helping people to create and discover within Non-Monogamous Lifestyle Associations. Like I said, I can go 25 different places with what we're doing in the association. And so that whole process now has helped me to funnel it on in. And that's where then I got this concept. There's not concept, but this idea and this knowing that really what we're about is helping people to reinvent their life. And something that I have done and become an expert at, reinventing my life. And so I'm hoping that you join me on my reinvention journey. and you take your own reinvention journey. Now, then the last step here of this design the life that you want to create. First step is to write it down. Second step is to get clear. Third step is to refine it. And the last step then is to start to communicate it. And a lot of times people are just afraid to communicate it. But it's a very important part of the process. Find people that you then, if you're afraid to communicate, for instance, when I went from monogamy to non-monogamy, my wife and I talked about that. We weren't going to talk to our family and communicate the whole thing to our family. And so, we don't want to feel like that we can't talk to anybody about our non-monogamous life. So we found people that we could open up to and have conversation with and communicate with. And now that's part of then what we're creating and helping you with our nonprofit association, Non-Monogamous Lifestyles Association, is we're going to help you to create mastermind groups. And I don't know if you know about the concept of mastermind or not, but we're going to help you be able to create your own mastermind group so that you can have people that are of a like-minded people who, maybe there's a lot of people out there that are non-monogamous people, whether they be swingers or polyamory people or friends with benefits or whatever, however they do or don't define themselves, but they're non-monogamous. There's a lot of people out there that are. And the thing is that, not all of them are people that I want to necessarily spend a lot of time with. They're not doing the things for their health that I want to do for my health. They're not doing things for their financial life that I want to do for my financial life. And I'm not sure whether they're doing things for their sex life so that they can thrive sexually as they get older or not. But it doesn't seem like it. And so I wanted to be able to create an association of people who were of this kind of a like mind, were non-monogamous or at least curious about or interested in non-monogamy, and that we can start to associate together. And so that way we can have communication between us. Now, the thing you need to understand is that what you create, when you sit down and you design, you put the energy into designing. Remember, our energy is our thoughts, our words, and our feelings. And when you take the time to put your energy into creating a design for your life that you want, well, what you end up creating is what you're going to begin to attract for yourself. Because if your energy is focused on your words, your thoughts, and your feelings are all focused then on this new life that you are reinventing and you're creating, then that is how then people start to attract to you. And I encourage you to challenge me on this, because people, for instance, will say, because I consider myself a slut. Okay, I love my slutty life, and I love some of the people that are in my life with me that are sluts, and it's a great life. And now we're ethical sluts. That doesn't mean that we're just going to go out there and do some things that people might normally associate with, think of being a slut. But no, there's a good way to be a slut, and I love being a slut. And so with that though, that I like attracting to myself other sluts, and I do that. And we have a video I made with Kat about my partner Kat in California. I think we made that video about 3 months ago or so. And we sat down and we were talking about the people that we attract to us. And she's attracted a couple people to us, and I attract people to me. But because when we moved to California in September of 2016, we moved from Seattle, where I live here part-time, half the time with my partner, Chris. And then Kat and I moved to California, and where she grew up and was from, where her daughter lives and her parents live. And so when we moved there, the thing that we decided to do is to reinvent our life and live to be the sluts that we wanted to be. And we decided that if we're going to create and develop friendships with people, we didn't want to develop friendships with people that we go out. We love to go hiking. Well, we don't want to go hiking with people, spend all afternoon hiking with them. Then at the end of the day say, hey, it was fun. Have a nice week. but we want to be able to get done hiking and go have sex with them. You know, same thing with bicycling. Well, bicycling is something we love to do. And we don't want to go out bicycling with people and then say, hey, that was a great ride. See you in the next one. You know, at the end of going out bicycling, we want to go and have sex with them and have those options available to us. And so that's then became part of the life. We did a reinvention when we moved to California, and that became part of the life that we decided to create. And that's the kind of thing that you can create, whether you want what we have or not. But does that mean that suddenly we just went and we opened a door, you know, come and open on the door handle here, and then people just start flowing through it, and we were living this great slutty life? Not at all, because it's all part of a journey. It's a process, but slowly, you know, going through that journey. Because first of all, you have to become the person that you need to be in order to have what you want to have. And that's financially, with your health, and with your sex life. With all of these, we have relationships involved in this. And the thing is that you need to do is to become the person that you need to be in order to attract and have that relationship that you want to have. And as I mentioned earlier, I made a video, the 2 videos I made yesterday that are talking about deserve, or actually needs versus deserve. You know, you deserve what you get. And most people, they don't take charge of their life and work on their own life and their own energy to become the person that they need to be to attract to them and create the life that they want. And so they spend all of their energy working on going after the life then that they can never have. And so that video is something that I encourage you to go back, and when you got 2 hours, go watch this part 1 and part 2. Go ahead and watch those, because there's a lot of information in there. There's a major teaching that I did on how to have the energy to attract the people that you want to have the life that you want to create. And so as we start out by saying is that you want to create, you want to have people, relationships with people that are assets in your life instead of people who become liabilities in your life. And sometimes then, you know, with those liabilities, we have to make changes in our life that aren't always easy. And those are changes that my wife and I went through, but sometimes that's just necessary. And so if you have any questions about, you know, how to attract and have the energy or be the person, or how to attract the relationships that you want in your life, be sure you go ahead and put those in the comments. And if I didn't cover something here this week, and it's not covered in one of the other videos that I can refer you to, then I'll make sure that we cover it up, get it covered next week. But so let's get on to the homework. And the homework isn't new this week, because I know that most people probably by the time they got the materials to do the homework with, they barely got started. But the first part, this homework, let me explain first. The homework is designed to saturate your mind, to get you on track, keep you on track with creating the life that you dream to have for the rest of your life. You know, it's to help you to create habits so that you just get on track to be able to have and create the life that you desire and want to have. And it's designed to help you to become the person that you will attract the people in your life for you to enjoy the sexually liberated, ethically and consensually non-monogamous life of your dreams for the rest of your life. Because if you create this as a habit that you stay with, then it can last for the rest of your life. And so it's 2 parts to the homework. The first part is to read. Now, I love listening to audiobooks. And I listen to audiobooks. I listen for at least once every day to an audiobook. And so I love listening to audiobooks. But, you know, there's something different that goes on when we're actually reading. And that's something because, you see, I've never been a very good reader. And I'm becoming a really good reader because I read consistently now every day. And so the assignment is to read a minimum of 20 minutes every day. You know, last week there was one night that I was really tired. I worked until I think it was about 12:30, and yet I hadn't done my reading for the day. And I was ready to go to bed because I was sleepy. I was really tired. But yet I went and I sat down when I finished with my work and I sat down and I spent 20 minutes reading. And so it's something you just have to make that kind of a commitment to. And yes, sometimes I then fail and I get off track with it, but then get back on track, and that's where it helps to be involved in an association of people like we have here, and people that are on that track where they're on a track where they're reading for their own personal self-development and their own personal self-improvement. So the thing that I had for the assignment on here, though, for the reading, yes, not only to read 20 minutes a day, but specifically read a book called Promptings, Promptings, Promptings by Cody Bateman. And now I'd show you my book, but my book's on Kindle, and that's okay too, because that's reading, and it's not the same as an Audible. And maybe I should one day bring my Kindle in here and show you the book. But you can look the book up on Amazon, and yeah, I encourage you to use the like a Kindle, because I mean, as I travel and I take my books, then my whole library, I take it with me all the time, and it's just a wonderful thing to be able to do. And so go ahead and the promptings. We'll tell you just a little bit about the book itself. One of the things that we talk about in attracting people to us is this idea that the story of your mind becomes the story of your life. And the thing is that you get to write the story, because that's what we talked about here. Sit down and write the story down that you want to create, because the story of your mind becomes the story of your life. And if the story of your mind is doubt, guess what? You're going to create doubt. And that becomes the story of your life. In the video that I made yesterday, I talked about trust, and how for so many people, their story of their life is distrust. They don't realize it. That's their story, but that's the story they're creating, because they have this whole idea, well, trust has to be earned. I'm not going to give trust. It has to be earned. And when you have that kind of an attitude and that kind of an outlook, then guess what? You minimize the amount of people that come around into your life that you can trust. And I don't want to get too deep into that. Go watch that training. But it's the same thing. I use two examples. One was the example of trust people saying, oh, I can't trust people. And the other was the example of sex, not having people that you want in your life to have the sexual relationships that you want to have in your life. And so I use those two examples in that 2-hour training. And so the stories of your mind become the stories of your life, and you get to write the story. And so Promptings will tell you all about that. And so go ahead and get that book. And if you have to go on Amazon and order it, then order it there. Otherwise, if you have a Kindle already or something like that, then yeah, get it download it onto your Kindle and get it right away and get into that book. So the second part of the homework assignment is to listen, because again, the homework is designed to saturate your mind, to help you to get on track. And to saturate your mind means that what we take in through our eyes, what we also take in through our ears. Because all day, every day, we spend with people in a world, the radio, the news, the TV, the computer, all these inputs that are coming to us, they're saturating our mind, but not with the things that are helpful for us to get where we want to go and creating the lives that we want. And so my homework is designed to help you to turn that around and to start saturating your mind. So first is the reading, and the second then is the listening. And that is download on your phone, smartphone, download the app Audible if you haven't done it already. If you've got it, then great. If you don't, then download it, and they'll give you a free offer. Maybe do a search, about free Audible offer. They'll give you a free book if you download it and start listening to this free book. Any book that you choose that they offer. And so then you get to get this book that I'm assigning for free. Now, if you already have Audible, then they're not going to give you this book for free. But just go out and purchase the book then and start listening to this book. And again, then this is a book that I've listened to at least a half dozen times. But I started listening to it earlier than last week. In fact, I started listening to it on Tuesday, because I gave the assignment on Monday, and on Tuesday, I started doing the assignment myself, and that is to listen to this book called Leveraging the Universe and Engaging the Magic by Mike Dooley. And what that is the whole book teaches you how to learn how to turn your thoughts into things. Because yes, there is nothing that's ever created in this universe that we physically can see that doesn't start with a thought. Think about the bridges that we cross. So when we cross a river, or the roadways that we drive down to get to work or to get across the country, or the skyscrapers that we see in the cities. I live in Seattle, and there's a lot of skyscrapers here. And there's cranes up building more skyscrapers. So there's Amazon that's building like crazy in Seattle right now. And so, there's just a lot of things that are created, whether it be something huge or creating something small like frying an egg for breakfast. There's nothing that actually happens without first a thought. If you're going to go to the store, it begins with a thought. And that's how then those things happen. And when you learn how to take and understand how the power of thought ends up being what you end up creating, then you can learn how to create the little things in your life, and you learn how to create the big things in your life. And so then you start to create the money you want in your life. You start to create the health you want in your life. And you start to create the relationships so that you can enjoy the sex that you want to enjoy in your life. But it all starts with a thought. And so Mike Dooley talks about that, and the Audible book, Leveraging the Universe and Engaging the Magic. And so download that on the Audible and start listening to that. And so if you find it, if you'll read and listen every day, the assignment for homework is to listen for 30 minutes every day. And, you got to make a point of doing these things, whether you're on your commute to work, or whether you're doing a project at home, or you're brushing your teeth and stuff in the morning. Whenever it is that you have time, then just listen for a half hour every day and read for 20 minutes every day. And that 50-minute time period spent every day will start to transform your life. And so that's what we're really all about here at Non-Monogamous Lifestyles, is helping you to go on a journey of reinventing your life. Come along with myself as I reinvent my life. And so I do hope that you'll join me. So are there any questions? I see, Steve, you're still here with me. Thanks for hanging in here with me. But Steve, do you have any questions before I wrap it up here? Okay, well, no questions. And so I'm going to encourage you then to go ahead and click on it. I'm going to put it in the description when my email list. So if you're not already on my email list, then get on my email list so that you can ensure that you stay involved with things that's going on with our Non-Monogamous Lifestyles Association, because we're really, this is a big year for us for creating some new things and doing some new things that we're very excited about. Kind of closing out some past chapters, or not chapters, but whole books of my past life, which has taken me the last 2 years to get to. And so that I can spend more of my time and more of my effort doing things with Non-Monogamous Lifestyle Association. So click on that link and subscribe and get involved with Non-Monogamous Lifestyle, getting on our email list, but also subscribe to my YouTube channel. So if you haven't already subscribed, then subscribe. And let's see, are you going to be doing the week 2? This is week 2 today, Steve. Are you going to be doing the week 2? Is that what you mean? Because this is week 2. And week 2 is about how to attract the people that you need to have, or you want to have in your life, to have the life that you want sexually, to have the life that you want. Oh, week 3. Yes. Week 3, which will be next week. Thanks. In fact, thanks for asking this question, because yes, week 3, which will be next Monday night at 6 p.m. Pacific Coast time and 9 p.m. East Coast time, then that's a review week. And so it's a review and catch-up week, where then I'll talk about the material that we've gone over the last 2 weeks, and then I'll take more of your questions so that we have more time for questions. And so I really encourage you to write down, because I don't know, you probably got a brilliant mind that remembers everything. I just don't have one of those minds, and so I have to write everything down. And if I try to hold things in here, then when I really want it, it's just not there. And if I write it down, guess what? I can go, yep, that's where I wrote it down right there. And so that's where I got these composition books. I'm looking up my shelf here. I've got a couple extras I keep right there all the time that haven't been used yet. And I buy these things by the dozen. I usually once or twice a year run into them where there's 12 for $10. And I buy a bunch of them because they're just a very handy book, and I carry them everywhere we're going, and that way I can write things down. So write your questions down that you have over the material that we've covered the last 2 weeks, or today and also last week, and we're going to spend whatever time that I need to spend in answering and addressing your questions over the subjects. If you have other questions, now your questions can be anything involved with your living a sexually liberated, non-monogamous lifestyle of your dreams. And that is an ethically and consensually non-monogamous lifestyle. If you're not living that life, it can be a question about how, specific questions about living that life. If you, are in a monogamous relationship and you're just not sure what to do and you're feeling stuck, then ask questions about that. And I'll draw from my own experiences, but we'll go through and we'll make sure we're answering all the questions and having a lot more time then next week for answering questions. So I do hope that you will bring your questions. I know that I've been chatting with a guy that he just couldn't be here tonight. He was here last week and the live stream, and he says he's just got lots and lots of questions. So I'm going to be, he'll be in conversation throughout the week with me, and I'll encourage him then to bring his questions or to send them to me beforehand so I can address them. So when I can have the question to address by video, then I feel my time is better used. Whereas if I'm just taking it to answer one question directly with one person, maybe through a text or an email or on the phone or anything of that nature, I'm just addressing that one person. But chances are those same questions are of great value and great benefit to many other people. And so that's why I guess I decided to start this 9-week process of doing this coaching program for 9 weeks, where I'll spend the time to answer your questions and let you drive the agenda. The topic here tonight was driven by questions that I got in the last week. And so I let you drive the agenda and the things that I teach about. The 2-hour training that I did yesterday, it's driven by things that feedback I'm getting from other people. And so we're going to be doing next week, and next week will be really focused on your questions, not any new material that I'm going to be teaching. We'll kind of do a quick recap, no more than 10 minutes to recap what we've gone over in 2 weeks of worth of material. And we'll do that, but then we'll go ahead and answer your questions. Anything else? Well, Steve, thank you very much for watching here today with me. And these live streams are something that I know will grow in time. Like got on the board behind me here, it says you've got to get started before, and be willing to be bad before you can ever get good, and before you can ever be great at anything, you've got to be willing to be bad. Otherwise, you'll never get started. And so that's one of the things that I just decided, that I saw that some people were coming to me with their needs that they had. And I said, instead of me addressing their needs one at a time, one person at a time, that I decided to go ahead and benefit many more people by creating this coaching process. And for me, it's a new thing to do. And so for me, it's going through that thing on my board where I've got to be willing to be bad at it and face my fears and just jump into it and do it. And eventually, I'll be generating audiences. It's part of my journey. I'm going to generate audiences, and I hope that you'll still be here, Steve, the day that I have 1,000 viewers on a live stream video like this. And I hope that you'll be here to see that, Steve, and you'll be able to say, I was there when I was the only guy around, and now look at what he's done. He's got 1,000 viewers on a live stream. And so thank you very much, Steve, for taking this journey with me. And I hope that your journey will be very fruitful.